Hi, Doug. Hi, Linda.
What we've seen earlier today, truly a day of overwhelming celebration. There's scenes more reminiscent of a celebration in New York, but this is the city of sails, and this is how they welcomed home the heroes who won yachting's most prestigious prize. Keith, why did you come all the way down from Carmo today?
Because the family thought that this was a really great event and we all wanted to be part of it.
Fantastic.
Yeah?
It's cold. It's really cold. Awesome.
They cheered for all the support staff, but the loudest hurrah was reserved for the well-known faces who won the cup on the water.
We've been buried in paper.
Unbelievable. Never seen anything like it anywhere.
Well, as you can see, we can hardly move. There's so much noise we can hardly hear ourselves think. It's just an awe-inspiring day. Team New Zealand had been warned to expect something like that, even as their chartered plane touched down just before 9 this morning.
Stand by. The America's Cup is in New Zealand. Let's hope it's going to be here for quite some time.
And as befitting the world's most popular match races, a refreshing guard of honour.
The old mug with Peter Blake on the right, Russell Coots on the left. What a sight. What a day for New Zealand.
It was a theme taken up by the Prime Minister.
Thank you one and all for that tremendous effort that you put in on the waters in San Diego that made us feel so proud as New Zealanders back home. A tremendous effort.
It's fantastic to be home. It's fantastic to be back in New Zealand. It's fantastic to be back in New Zealand, the new home of the America's Cup.
That was just the preliminaries. Ahead, it seemed a whole country turned out to meet the team who grabbed the old mug from Dennis Connor.
More waves in the Southern Ocean. I'm starting to get a Peter Montgomery on it almost, aren't I, with that sort of saying.
You're waving more than the royal family here.
Yeah. Oh, well, you know, I think it's great.
That ride in from the airport was just an appetizer. This is the main course. It's like another sea for the Team New Zealand crew to conquer, a sea of friendly faces. The mood was infectious, and Queen Street was crammed. Children came from school, offices emptied out. The priority, getting a prime location to see Team New Zealand in the flesh, and getting a close-up look at what all the fuss was about. The voice of America's Cup was back behind the microphone again. Even he was blown away by the reception.
Just have a look down here. Look at the faces of these kids.
For other TV commentators, the sheer weight of numbers made the job almost impossible.
What do you think?
It was slow progress up Queen Street, but no one seemed to mind. The mood remained festive throughout. Once the parade reached Altea Square, the two men who carried much of the responsibility throughout a long, arduous campaign finally got to display their silverware. It was a day for superlatives.
Thank you very much for this most stupendous, fantastic, terrific, marvellous New Zealand welcome here today. We've never seen anything like it before. I can tell you something. Simon Jordan just told me it really doesn't get any better than this, and I agree with him. Thanks very much, New Zealand. I think on behalf of the team, we're just happy to have done something good for the country. Thanks a lot.
And you know, there's already been talk about the defence of the Cup. Earlier today, Peter Blake was saying we should plan to defend it for at least 2 decades.
Now, Simon, with all those people crammed into downtown Auckland, it must place a huge strain on the place. Were there any problems?
Well, you might have thought so. Certainly it was the biggest, most boisterous, jam-packed parade I've ever reported on. But despite all those thousands of people, we've only had reports of 1 arrest for disorderly behaviour and only 14 cases of people requiring hospital treatment, and that was only for minor cases, really a reflection of the good nature of New Zealanders today.
Indeed. And of course the team's on a real high at the moment, but what's in store for them once the celebrating's over?
Well, I think the supporters would like to keep celebrating for quite a while, but Team New Zealand's made it very clear today they want to back away from the hype now, not rush into any decisions about the Cup rules or how many defence syndicates there'll be. Leave all that for at least a few months. If cool heads won the Cup, they say, cool heads must defend the Cup.
Simon Mercer, live from the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron in Auckland.
Throughout Team New Zealand's campaign there's been the behind-the-scenes support, and not just from the technical design experts and the weather advisors. Today it was an opportunity for families to join in the public excitement. Maramina Roderick has their view on today's fun.
Behind the magic men are the magic women. Everyone was exhausted, but seeing home gave them a second wind.
I actually had tears in my eyes as we were coming in. It really feels like we're home at last. It's neat. It's an amazing feeling.
But the best was yet to come.
No one ever thought, when we were working away trying to win the America's Cup, that it would actually happen. Well, we all dreamed, but it did happen, and here we are.
In fact, Peter Blake's entire family were entirely overwhelmed.
I was a bit phased about it. We were a bit phased about it before, but then, wow. I mean, there's lots of people out here who are really going for it.
Didn't actually realise we'd won until about now. Are you proud of your dad?
Yeah.
Why?
He said he won the America's Cup.
I'll be glad when I can have a cup of tea or a beer.
Today's welcome blew them right out of the water.
We didn't realise it would be quite so extraordinary, quite so huge, extraordinarily emotional as well. And I'm just trying to thank them by screaming and shouting. I love it.
A special time too for the parents of Russell Coots.
It must be a very proud moment for both of you today.
Very proud, yes, yes. Thank you, New Zealand, for all this. It's wonderful.
This is great. It makes it all worthwhile.
The fact that New Zealanders can turn out like this for the America's Cup, I think is probably about the most special thing that's happened in all of our team's lives.
And after 8 years, the Blakes finally have their sailor home from the sea for a while. Maramina Roderick, One Network News.
The sheer size of the welcome home meant it was never going to be business as usual in Auckland. Michael Wilson reports on where the crowds came from.
School's out as 1,100 pupils from Auckland Girls Grammar head for the celebration. Hard decision to take the day off?
Yeah, it's very hard there.
You'd prefer to stay at school, wouldn't you?
Yeah. No, I'd rather learn.
Okay.
But we're going off.
So why is a multicultural girls' school closing down to celebrate a victory by 16 white male yachties?
Ours is a very diverse school with people who are New Zealanders and people who've chosen to make New Zealand their home. We thought that it was an opportunity to bring the country together, to celebrate a victory, the little people doing it to the big people.
And it wasn't just the schools that shut. Many businesses decided to take time off. So why are you heading off to the parade?
We've been patriotic, I think. Why are you coming?
I'm going to marry Russell Coots, actually, so that's why I'm going to meet my future husband.
From mid-morning, thousands streamed into Auckland City, even though some were officially ill. Is your boss giving you time off work?
Oh, no, just taking a sickie.
Have you? Yeah. What about yourself?
Yeah, I'll take a day off work.
The boss said that's okay?
Yep.
Some never got there. Trains coming in from South Auckland were packed to the rafters and had to speed by.
Around about 300,000. Well, that was...
Down country, the masses paid homage to the black magicians by gathering round TV screens. Back in Auckland, there was one group which did not take the day off, tow truck drivers. The city may have been in a joyous mood, but the peace, love and understanding did not extend to illegal parkers. Michael Wilson, One Network News.
And our heroes take the America's Cup to the capital tomorrow. The parade starts at 12:15 at the Civic Square and winds up at Parliament. On Friday morning, they head for Christchurch, where the parade kicks off at 10 from Colombo Street. And the party continues Friday afternoon in Dunedin, with another parade at 3:30 and a mayoral reception. And then I would think they'll sleep for a week.
Still to come this news hour, a mid-air medical miracle. Also, and to see how it's settling in.
No expense spared for our newest citizen, a $6,000 first-class seat all to itself. Then its first glimpse of New Zealand. A bright breezy day dusting off 8 years of accumulated San Diego dirt. The old mug later made a star appearance on Auckland's Queen Street, cheered by its 300,000 fans. By this afternoon, the mug finally reached its new home, the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron. Few heroes get such royal treatment, even their own bodyguard, Timaroo Sergeant Jeff Smith.
Don't want to stop, otherwise I would fall asleep.
Then the ceremony the squadron had been dreaming of since 1992.
Well, here it is. It's going to stay here not just for the next 4 or 5 years, it's going to stay here for the next 25 years.
Anyone else would find the attention overwhelming, but this cup is a veteran. Crafted in London 144 years ago, it's already experienced life down under. So how will life in New Zealand compare to America?
I think that you don't own the cup owns you, and it's got a mystique about it. I think it's rather attractive, but some people say not. But you know, we're very thrilled to have it here.
The cup weighs under 4 kilograms. In 1851, it was considered an ordinary 100-guinea trophy. At today's silver prices, melted down, it's probably worth around $1,000. So, what's all the fuss?
I think it's magnificent. It's most beautiful and one of the best trophies that's ever come to New Zealand. Fantastic.
After travelling the country, our new silver superstar will have a short break. It will be stored in the vault until next week, when an armour-plated glass cabinet can be brought out from San Diego. That could be as early as next week, but viewing the cup will initially be a privilege limited to squadron members. Simon Shepherd, One Network News.
Still to come, Kiwi ingenuities on the right side of the road.
But first, Manu Samoa turns to a...
Tonight, celebrating one of New Zealand's grandest victories, and in such style. Auckland's Queen Street awash with ticker tape and pride in this America's Cup Victory Special. Live from the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron, we're going to capture the colour, I hope, and we'll capture some of the excitement of today with some of those at the centre of this great hero's homecoming. This was New Zealand's day. Good evening, live from the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron, the new home of this America's Cup. And tonight, New Zealand's on top of the world, and rightly so. The Everest of the yachting world has been conquered. The day, of course, belonging to Team New Zealand and all those New Zealanders bewitched by the magic and the colour of one of our most remarkable sporting achievements. You can see they're still a bit bewitched behind me there. The party at the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron is going on unabated. Now you can probably see behind me the party continuing. A short while ago, earlier this afternoon actually, I spoke with an overwhelmed Peter Blake after the ceremonies here at the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron, and with Russell Cootes as well, and a certain distinguished New Zealander who just happened to be passing at the time.
Well, I couldn't believe the number of young kids that were out on Queen Street, and also the elderly people that were rushing up to, you know, shake your hand, and you know, it was one of the more emotional moments, I think, in my life. It was just unbelievable.
I mean, that's one of the surprising things too, isn't it, that your victory, the whole campaign, has captured the imagination, touched the hearts of such a wide variety of people. And that must be very gratifying.
Yeah, I'm not really quite sure why, really. I guess it's because New Zealand's been trying for it for so long. But the enthusiasm was real. It wasn't false at all. It was real from the youngest to the oldest present. And I think, I mean, what enthusiasm. I've never seen anything like it, ever.
Could you hear yourself speak in Queen Street today?
No, I was joking with Peter, what if we won something or something?
Congratulations, you're terrific.
Thank you very much indeed, Sir Edmund.
A tremendous
Thank you, Sir Edmund.
Yeah.
Great.
Following the whole lot, every inch of the way.
Dame Catherine made the suggestion on the day of victory that your achievement, your victory in San Diego, was the most significant event in New Zealand's history since Everest. Do you think it was?
Well, I mean, climbing Everest was, I think, you know, it's a very, very different sort of exercise altogether. And I'm not a mountain climber, so I would have trouble really relating it. But I guess from the general public's perception of difficulty, level of difficulty, it was pretty hard.
What do you think?
I think the winning the American Cup was certainly probably the most fantastic thing that has been experienced in my lifetime in New Zealand, including the ascent of Everest.
Including the ascent of Everest?
Yes.
Peter Mulgrew once said of you, and I've heard him say of you, you had an extraordinary capacity to be able to carry big weights up huge inclines for a very long time. Do you think he's got a bit of that? Do you think these two have got a bit of that?
Well, I'm sure they have. The thing that's really impressed me is the organisation of Team New Zealand has been absolutely fantastic. And the individuals have been wonderful, but the overall organisation really has been enormously impressive. It really has. I think that's what all of us have admired more than anything, is the way you work together as a team and you've just gone ahead and achieved.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's very nice to hear. We've actually enjoyed it on the way through, which is, you know, half of the thing too.
Of course, Sir Edmund has come to mind to you before in America's Cup campaigns.
Oh, that's right. I can remember in 1992 when we had our backs against the wall and we're up against El Moro, and somebody from New Zealand, I'm not sure who they were, sent an ice pick with Hillary on it, and it just was the symbol that the team looked to and said, you know, we've got to really battle this thing hard. And I still remember that, and I still actually remember it, you know, throughout this campaign.
Did you get this kind of reception when you came back to New Zealand in 1953? Did you get a parade up Queen Street like this?
No, it wasn't quite like this. I mean, we arrived back in the flying boat, and there was a big crowd there, according to standards in those days. And, you know, I'd seen big crowds by then in London and New York and all over the place. But it was most frightening for me was arriving back in Auckland. These were my own people. They knew who Ed Hillary was, a pretty ordinary character from Papakura. And it was more terrifying for me, I think, arriving back in Auckland than it had been even in the middle of London.
I suppose you fellows are facing some terrifying prospects too, which is that you're going to be very much superstars now. I mean, they're going to have to get used, aren't they, to a special kind of public life, I suppose.
Oh, they'll adjust to it, no trouble.
No worries at all?
No.
I'm not sure, Paul.
I mean, it is different.
Oh, the reception we got, as I said, was just, I couldn't believe it. I think both of us were just standing there in shock as we were going down Queen Street.
My knees were shaking at the end of that today. And, you know, I hadn't had anything to drink much or anything, and just from the emotion of the whole thing. I don't think, though, it will change anyone much at all.
Did you need to feel that appreciation, do you think, to complete the winning in a way? Did you need to have that today?
I think it certainly helped finish it off in a very nice way. I guess it'll be even further reinforced tomorrow and the next day. I mean, Auckland, yeah, Aucklanders go for yachting events. It'll just be interesting to see, you know, if we get a similar reaction from Wellington.
I'm looking forward to going to Dunedin, actually. That's where I went to school, and it's going to be interesting to see what sort of reaction there is down there.
So what do you think, Sir Edmund? Does it compare with the ascent?
Oh, sure it does. I think the things have changed so much over the 42 years since we climbed Everest. Competition is so much tougher, and the ability of the individuals is so much higher than it was in my day. We were really a bunch of beginners 42 years ago.
These are remarkable people.
They are remarkable people.
Remarkable people indeed, and a remarkable man, Sir Edmund Hillary, who popped along today. And there's the America's Cup. You see it there in all of its splendid glory, with the names of the victors over the years inscribed on the bottom. And that cup is standing under spotlights now right inside the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron, surrounded by a great number of celebrating people, as well they ought to be. Still to come tonight on this homecoming special, we're going to have a look at today's great celebrations through the eyes of the international media. And we're going to speak also to the team behind Team New Zealand, the partners of our victorious yachtsmen, there in a couple of minutes. From that kind of respect, that kind of adoration for the cup.
No. I remember when it came to San Diego the first time when Dennis brought it back, there were 30,000 people maybe between the airport and the downtown area. And I think we passed that many on the way to the parade today, just people who came out of their houses to stand alongside the road and watch the buses go by.
It's a curious old thing, though, the America's Cup, isn't it? But it comes with its own special aura. In fact, it's a huge kind of aura. It comes... I mean, do we yet appreciate here, do you think, how big it is?
I don't think you appreciate how much trouble it can be. And this time, about this time in San Diego, when the Cup had just arrived, the Sharks were circling, all trying to divide up the little piece of the pie that was going to be the America's Cup, and they sold it to the people in San Diego as a $1 billion bonanza. They said 10 Super Bowls. And when they sold it that way, the average man thought, money in my pocket. And of course, when the money didn't show up in his pocket, he was disappointed, regardless of what happened with the America's Cup. If they had sold it as a sporting event that was going to bring international teams in, and it was going to be a really good time, we might have seen more enthusiasm. What you've got now in Auckland is a tremendous amount of enthusiasm. You need to really try and hang on to that.
Did it really become a point of some bitterness, the America's Cup in San Diego?
Sure. I mean, we started off with a 3-year court fight. And, you know, it drugged through the courts, and it drugged through the courts, and New Zealand had a hand in that.
Yes, it has to be seen.
But, yeah, that turned it off. And then, of course, the fact that they sold it as a money event when it really wasn't so much a money event as it was a sporting event.
So is there a sense of loss that it's gone in San Diego? I mean,
there is among, I mean, I'm terribly sad to see it go. But I think it's gone to a good country, and after what I saw today, you'll have a ton of fun with this. This could be a great time.
So the main troubles to avoid, then, in your view, as somebody who's lived through a whole period of a city having the Cup?
Try and get a village. Try and get all the teams into one area. That's going to be very difficult to do. Try and not focus on how much money we're all going to make from this. And try and enjoy it for what it is, which is the pinnacle of yacht racing. You have a country that's mad for yacht racing, and I think it could just be great.
Well, it's wonderful talking to you, and enjoy your trip straight back to the OJ trial, I guess, is it?
Yeah, I'm afraid so. You don't want to keep me, do you? I'm available.
Well, it could be discussed. Of course, it could be. Everything can be discussed. It's a pleasure. Mark Matthews from the ABC in San Diego. Now, of course, members of the team, members of Team New Zealand didn't achieve this wonderful victory of recent weeks on their own, racing every race with them in a way, in spirit, behind the scenes with the wives and the partners and the girlfriends, an equally dedicated, equally passionate support team, support crew, and they were stunned by the warmth and the size of the reception they got in New Zealand today.
A genuine surprise. We were warned that this was going to happen. It happened, and we still cannot get over it.
No, I think one of the surprising things was all the way from the airport, people were lining the roads.
Yeah, I mean, we'd all been told, yep, they're going to be a big crowd out there to welcome you, and we've been told about it for a few days, but when we actually saw the immense warmth and welcome from those thousands of people, it was overwhelming. And we were all, I think, lost for words. We probably still are lost for words a bit, because how can you, it's so exciting to be part of it. It was fantastic.
What do you think, James? Was it unusual? I suppose it was unusual to see that number of people all screaming.
Yep.
Did you like the sound of that, or was it a bit much?
No, it's okay.
It was quite pleasant. You weren't frightened by the sounds of the crowds and so forth?
No, but it's pretty loud. Yeah.
And colourful?
Yeah, very colourful.
You pleased it's over, Lindley?
Yes, I am. It's nice to be home to catch up with everyone. San Diego was great, but Auckland is definitely home.
Nice shopping in San Diego. You were telling me this. Yes. I don't think I'm being sexist. I wouldn't want the audience to think I'm being sexist bringing it up. I mean, we were discussing it before.
And my credit card hit its limit 3 times while I was there. I was banned from shopping for a few weeks, but and I've got a few nice little treasures that I've brought home. So it's good. I'm wearing a few.
Long campaign, though, eh, Annie? Do you sometimes wish you'd give up the sea and come back on the shore? Or?
Never, 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 never. It's Tom's passion, and he's been around the water since he was a young boy, and has gradually done more, worked more, and achieved this. This must be the pinnacle, don't you think?
The victory must make it worth it, eh?
The victory is wonderful. No, I just love it. I love it on his, for Tom, for the crew, for our families. There's so many advantages.
Was that a special day?
Oh, still a wee bit trembly. Any minute I might just start getting a little bit weepy. It was just very incredible, it was.
Is it fair to suggest, actually, that while the victory up there was wonderful, and to go to New York was wonderful, and to experience the parties after the victory up there was wonderful, but you almost needed this to finish it, to this homecoming?
This was like the full stop at the end of a great big sentence.
Well, it's very lyrical, isn't it? It's very good.
Very, very hard to... I think after all the wonderful celebration that we did in San Diego, again, New York, Washington, nothing can beat this, because this is at home. This is Auckland, this is New Zealand, and this is where it is.
Has this been a special victory for you and Peter, though, do you think? I mean, Peter's won so many things. I mean, he's pushed the limit so many times. He's achieved so much. Is this one still a remarkable one, or
I think this is totally remarkable because it's the America's Cup, and we've just been with such a great team of people from right through, and especially the wives and the children. It's just been a wonderful experience to be part of. So, and the fact that that was culminated in the America's Cup, it's been more than special, you could say.
An unforgettable experience.
Totally. I mean, we'll never forget it for as long as we live.
I mean, that's one of the... Was it the fact, do you think, that the wives and the girlfriends and the children and so forth got on so well? I mean, did that help to the workings of the whole team on the boat, do you think, and the people behind the scenes?
Definitely, because we were all happy, because we were all getting on well and having a good time, and it made it all worthwhile because we could support the guys and be there, and it was like one big happy family. And we all went out together. When it was a day off, we all got together and went out for lunch. So it was great.
What's Peter like during a big racing regatta like that, or a big racing period like that? Somebody told me he still brings you a cup of tea in the morning.
I never take him one, but he always brings me one. I'm a terrible wife, but no, he's a brilliant husband and a great father, and he looks after us very well.
Does he stay relaxed, I mean, or does he start to get a bit preoccupied? You can speak honestly to me.
He can get a little bit grumpy from time to time, but...
Well, we all can, I suppose, can't we? Tom get a bit grumpy?
Not at all.
No, not grumpy.
No, cool as a cucumber every day. I mean, on the outside, it's right. I don't know what the little tummy's doing.
And there it is again, the America's Cup. Just bathed in that sight of the America's Cup in New Zealand, the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron. You can see it there, I think. There it is again in the middle of the room there. And the revellers, of course, the members of the Yacht Squadron and friends of the Yacht Squadron, enjoying very much. You can see that their eyes are still focused. They're transfixed, really, by the unbelievable sight of the famous, the legendary America's Cup now in this Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron in Auckland. Still to come on the programme tonight, tiptoeing through the ticker tape, we're going to be riding shotgun with the clean-up crews facing the job of their lives after that blinder of a parade up Queen Street today. And Philip Jameson, the youngest member of Team New Zealand, setting sail on a full-time yachting career. In fact, they're going to be going through till midnight tonight at least, and they'll be back at it tomorrow as well, finishing things up. Well, Jim Mora joined them. Jim Mora on clean-up duty.
The big day. Auckland packed. Queen Street like no one had quite seen it before. A once-in-a-lifetime day. And for the clean-up crew, the street sanitation brigade, the challenge of their careers. So what's your technique for dealing with the ticker tape?
Well, our technique for the ticker tape is just our basic broom and our actual sweeping machinery.
Nothing fancy?
Nothing fancy, just elbow power.
Peter Blake, Russell Cook, and the America's Cup.
The cleaners waited for the parade to go by. They were ready. And when the word came,
let's go and keep it clean. And
they swung into action. They had the technology. They didn't have red socks on exactly, but there was one round somewhere.
This is absolutely fantastic.
They didn't share the limelight. It wasn't the glamour job of the day, but someone had to do it.
You're making progress. I really am, I try.
And they're good at it. They had a bit of ticker tape fall on them, but only the residue.
It's not that they're unsung heroes exactly. The battle for the America's Cup wasn't won on the clean streets of Auckland. But if it wasn't for the work these guys are doing today, it'd be pretty tricky navigating through town tomorrow.
And it's a job that has the odd perk.
What's the most valuable thing you've ever found, Calvin?
$20.
So there are perks to the job.
Oh, yeah. Shouldn't be saying this, eh?
All the children knew who the Dusties were. Peter Blake and Russell Coots slowed down long enough to autograph Rex Hopper's shirt.
With a bit of luck, Peter Blake will let you clean up after the next event.
Oh, yeah, he might.
A good-sized forest must have made the ultimate sacrifice, judging by the ticker tape. There was ticker tape for Africa in Auckland, and enough for a couple of other continents as well.
Oh, man. Well, this year was going to be a hell of a mess, and it is.
What was your favourite bit?
When the fins came out and the streamers.
Are you going to cover Holly completely, or are you just going to leave her head out of it?
Leave your head out of it.
And when the job looked just too huge for the clean-up crew, people started giving them a hand.
Hey, that's very good of you guys. What school do you go to?
St. Andrew's Christian School. 13 months old.
He's never seen such a great mess in his life.
Nothing, anything like this in his life. Not even birds.
So while most of us were seeing this, the rear guard today had a different view. But they didn't mind, although they wouldn't want to do this every day.
Man, that's the biggest show we've ever done.
Yes, something is there, and what we can see again is that America's Cup, and look at those people standing there still with an air of some disbelief about it. Now, tonight we're coming to you live from the yacht squadron, as I've been telling you, and the youngest person on that team New Zealand was Blake Snipper. He's become known as Blake Snipper, the youngest member of Team New Zealand, 17-year-old Philip Jamieson. He was given his big yachting break by Team Supremo Peter Blake, and he's repaid Peter Blake's faith and confidence with good old-fashioned hard work. And his task was to pilot the high-powered chase boat. But he wasn't beyond fetching some lunches for the crew as well, and just as important, he wasn't beyond keeping in touch with his mum every couple of days. At least we understand Mum wrote letters every couple of days. So
absolutely.
Hey, did she?
Oh, yeah, yep. Got plenty of letters from Mum.
And I don't think there's anything too... I mean, you wouldn't need to be ashamed of being homesick from time to time if you were.
No, I kept in touch. Brilliant.
We didn't get any letters in return, Paul.
Oh, did he phone up?
Oh, yes, we got the phone calls.
Not the world's greatest letter writer, so...
No, well, there was much to do.
Yeah.
Tell me that wonderful story again about how this came about. You were hanging around. I mean, yachting, you feel it in your blood. I mean, there's something about yachting. So you start hanging around the Royal Port Nicholson Yacht Club.
Yeah.
And Peter Blake notices you.
Yeah, just months of niggling, I suppose, loitering. Seemed to pay off.
Did you say to him, I want to be part of this America's Cup chap?
No, it was quite unexpected, really. He actually asked me if I wanted to come. It was, right out of the blue, hit me like a ton of bricks.
He talked to us a week beforehand to OK it with us, and then agreed to phone Philip a week later.
And he said to you, if the grades are good at the end of the year, if you do well in your exams,
yeah,
you can come.
That's right. Oh, it was brilliant.
I bet it was brilliant. Yeah. So you get up there. Was it hard work in San Diego?
Yeah, it was a lot of hard work. We had a lot of fun on the way. Yeah, it was. We were working 14-hour days at times between the semi-finals and the finals. But, oh, yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Wonderful experience. You're 17 now.
Yeah.
You were 17 when you went?
Yeah.
Okay. And the kind of jobs you were doing, you were driving that boat, of course, but you were doing jobs on shore as well, plenty of those, weren't you?
Oh, everyone had lots of roles, really. I was cleaning the keel in the morning, getting lunches, helping carry sails to the yacht, driving the chase boat, which was a bit of fun.
Did the team accept you? Were they good for you?
Yeah, I slotted into place really well. I thought I'd be singled out at first, being the young guy. I think I was the youngest by about 5 years in the end. But no, I was slotted into place nicely. It was great.
Did you learn a lot about living away from home?
Oh, yeah. Learned to cook and look after myself.
Yes. And you would have learned a bit about the company of real men, too, I suppose.
Oh, yeah.
Eh?
Forced me to grow up.
Yes. Hard cases.
Oh, yeah. Loose units.
Some of them loose units. I suppose we forget a bit about the hard work and the hard slog that went on. I mean, were you worried about him at all? Did you wonder?
No, it wasn't Paul, because he's a fairly capable kid, and I knew he'd fit in well, so toes the line at home, so I thought he would be quite okay.
And Peter Blake, good to you in the end?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Good man. Well, it's tremendous. You're going to be the hero on Evans Bay Parade, eh?
I'm looking forward to going home tomorrow.
I bet you are. It's been a very long day.
Oh, yeah.
Good on you, Philip.
Yeah, thanks.
Well done, Philip. And Marion, thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Paul.
And congratulations. What a proud mum you must be.
Now I know what it feels like to be the proudest mum in the world.
She's a good mum.
She's a wonderful mum, eh?
Yeah.
She's got a good son.
Oh, yeah.
The celebrations then have only just begun as the Cup and the team make their way to Wellington tomorrow, then on to Christchurch, then on to Dunedin for further appreciation and outpourings of joy. At the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron in Auckland, those were our people today. That's our Cup, and that's Holmes tonight.